One of the key elements to take your handmade guitar from good to great is making sure that you have flawless fretwork. And one of the ways that you can do that, one skill you're going to need in order to accomplish that, is understanding the technique for properly using your fret crowning file. This is an example of one of them, but there are many different kinds. In this video, I'm going to show you my techniques and my process for the fret crowning file technique. Let's check it out. I'm so glad you stopped by to check out this video because I think you're going to find it really useful. The techniques I'm going to be showing you for these fret crowning files, they're the same things that I've been using for more than 20 years to professionally handcraft my guitars for people all over the world. And the subtle refinements and some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you, they make a big difference. They seem like small details, but those small details add up to make a big difference to take your fretwork from good to great. So don't underestimate them, and I hope you pay close attention. I think it's really going to help you. If you're watching this and you're wondering, what is a fret file? Well, a fret crowning file, I should say. What is a fret crowning file? A fret crowning file is a file that we use to reshape the top of the frets after we level them. Now, if you need more in-depth explanation on that, because I don't want this video to get too long, I've got a huge guide that tells you everything you could ever want to know about fret crowning files over on theartoflutherie.com. I will link to it in the description, so please be sure to check that out. It's going to answer all your questions about the fret files, about which one to use. I talk about the whole history of where I started and all the ones I got and then got rid of along the way and why, and how I ended up with this little guy, which is one of my favorite ones that I still use. Has kind of become my main fret crowning file now. So anyway, I think that's enough about fret crowning files themselves, and we need to now shift over to the focus of this video, which is the technique that we can master to really improve the fretwork of our guitars. Now, the demonstration I'm about to show you is a little clip from one of my online courses called Fretwork Mastery. I'll tell you a little more about that later, but I think that's enough talking, so let's go take a look at this technique. So I went over this with the vacuum, and I just vacuumed off all that metal dust that was on here. Just like to keep that as clean as I can. And the next thing to do is take our blue marker, and we're going to go back, we're going to color all these again. And that is going to help us see when we crown this to make sure that they're all crowned equally. Okay. All right. So the next step here is I'm going to take my fret crowning tool. You can use whatever fret crowning tool you prefer. And what I like to do is I start out with the 150 grit side. If you do use this tool, one very important word of caution. This is a design flaw in my opinion, but there's a little ball bearing there. And when you put this in, it holds it in place. However, if you put it in like this, if you happen to not be paying attention, you put it in so the ball bearing is on the radius part, it will drop out. And I'm mentioning that because you don't want it to drop out over the guitar. Even though we have it protected, you wouldn't want that to happen. So I'm going to spin this around. I'm going to make sure it's firmly. I like to make sure the little ball bearing is in the up position just as a habit to make sure I avoid that. And then it's in line with this writing. So I got the 150 grit part down, and it looks like someplace around here is in focus on the camera. Normally I'll just start at one end and work my way to the other, but it looks like maybe this is a good place to do an example. And the key here, the technique here, is just to keep it very even. And especially with this 150, I'm going to take it down and I'm just going to get it close. I mean, that's about all it can do with that 150. This was a really level fingerboard to begin with, so I really didn't have to take much off of the frets. So this job is going to be very easy. When it's hard is when you're using a big fat fret, and let's say you're overcoming issues, you might have some frets that are really flat, and if they are, it takes a lot of work to grind them down. But in this case, we're gonna fly through this. So there's a little bit of an art to this part because you always get to a situation, every fret's it's gonna have these variations where I've got a little blue spot here, it's totally silver here, and it's blue here. And so I have to be able to have some awareness of where the bottom of this is touching that and work the spot that needs to be worked and not work the other spots, because I want to preserve as much of that perfect straightness that I just put in there as I can. And so I can do a lot of starts and stops and checks and stuff if I need to. And you can't, my camera's in too close to see my body, but I'm moving myself, I'm moving my point of view back and forth so I can catch the light. You could even move your, if you've got a bench light like this, you can even move that around too and look and try to see. Sometimes I'll get a glare. Sometimes even when the blue disappears, I can get a glare from the light and I might see a little leftover scratch like I do right there. And then I can go take care of it. I want to get this as nice and neat as possible, because what I don't like, I mean, you can fix something that you might leave in there later, but I like to take the extra time to get it right now because it's just easier with this than it is with sandpaper in the next steps. So it looks like a little bit more there. Okay, so I hope you can see a little better now where the blue lines are. And let's go for this little fret right here. It looks like a good one in the camera there. I'm gonna switch back to 150 grit, and we're gonna kind of rough this in a little. I'm gonna take a look. Don't want to do too much with 150 because it does put some pretty aggressive scratches. That's really all that took. As little as I'm taking off here, I could probably skip the whole 150 part, but you might notice I'm sort of working back and forth too. I'm trying to, keep that crown nice and even. A funny little subtlety I'm realizing is that, you might have heard me say this before, this sounds funny, this sounds dorky or something, but my consciousness or whatever, where I'm thinking about is I'm sort of picturing myself down on the edge of those little teeth cutting, and it's almost like I can see it in my mind kind of. And I'm just really focused in on what's happening there. And then when I look over it, I'm sort of making mental notes, like I want to work here, I want to work right here, but not on the tip, but just back a little bit, and so then I'm going to come in and I'm sort of feeling where that is. And then I'm erring on the side of being overcautious. I could probably move faster if I was a little more gung-ho about it. But this is one of those operations where, you want a lot of precision going on here. That was a quick one. Every time you can't see me, but every time I'm stopping, I'm looking and leaning over this fingerboard here. Yeah, okay, so that's another one. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I'm gonna do some more. I may leave the camera roll a little bit, and I'm gonna just work my way up and down and finish this up, and we'll be on to the next step. So I hope you can see how taking the time to focus on those subtle technique details can really make a difference, can help you work faster, can make your work easier as you transition from the fret crowning file to your fret polishing. If you've done a proper job with the fret crowning file, your fret polishing is going to be a lot easier. You're just going to get a better experience and end product, and most importantly, the person who plays your guitar is going to forget all about those frets. We want them to forget about this part, and we want them to be able to focus on the beautiful sound and be able to express their music and create their art on our guitars. We want it to be their favorite guitar. That's the goal. And I hope that you see some stuff from that video that's going to help you, that you can go apply right away. As I mentioned before, that video is from my course called Fretwork Mastery, and I'm going to link to that stuff below. And in just a minute, I'm going to play a little video clip to show you a little more about it. But before I do, I got a question for you guys. What's your favorite fret crowning file and why? Is it the same one that I like, or maybe you have a different one? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I know there's a lot of kinds probably that I haven't even used yet. So let me know. That'd be really cool. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, I hope you will. Click the button. Find us on any social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Head over to theartoflutherie.com. and take advantage of all these great guitar making resources that we have out there for you guys. I want to do my best to help you build better guitars, and hope you enjoyed this video. And I think that's all for now. I'm going to cut to this little last video clip of the Fretwork Mastery course, and I'll see you guys in the next video.